Hey.
What's up? What's up? It's another week, episode 5. Let's get it in, the crossover.
Listen, we do our thing. I'm Toccara Williams. You already know with my co-host,
Carla Harris.
Carla the Goat Harris. She be being
Ah,
humble.
come on, the basketball mogul, real estate mogul over there. Hey, we in there, we in here. Let's get it in.
Hey, look, since we're talking basketball, you brought it up. Let's discuss the playoffs right now.
I don't even like watching it to the playoff, but go ahead. Like I don't even watch the NBA really until playoff
Now
time.
you're not a regular season fan. You
Not a regular season
straight
fan.
playoff
I'm a
action.
Heat fan. Like I'll watch the Heat, but I really don't watch it until playoff time.
All right. Why is that? I know a lot of people do that, and it's because of the intensity changes. New
Yeah, I
season, new
think
reason, right?
I think it's a new season and everybody playing a different reason and all that sitting out, they must really be hurt if they're sitting out type of stuff. So, yeah.
Speaking of sitting out, Devin Booker, Phoenix
Mhm.
Suns, he's going to miss games 3 and 4. The series right now is currently tied 1-1. Pelicans were able to tie it up. He went out of the game last night. My thought process is that if he doesn't go out, the Suns win the game. But being that he did go out, that's the Phoenix Suns leading scorer, and they lost a lot when he went down. So I think games 3 and 4 are going to look different from what it would have looked if he was there.
I think him being out is major. It's major to their offensive production. Like he really makes them go. I'm not saying they can't win, games, maybe not a playoff game, but he is big. He is big for them. And now they got
Definitely.
to go on the road, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So he's out with a hamstring injury. Man, I hurt my hamstring before, like when I was in Israel, and I was like, man, I know right then for me, like I'm like, yeah, body's saying, nah, that's not his case, but that's a different type of injury, and I've never
It's a
had it before
different.
until then.
Yeah, definitely a different type of injury. So it's not like, oh, my knee twerked and maybe, I could that hammy is pulling it. It's different. It controls a lot. You definitely don't want to tear something like yeah. So he'd have to rest, and it's more of a resting type of injury. It's like you gotta rest it. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Doesn't look
We,
good, but we'll see.
I mean, they got their point guard and leader. They're definitely their vocal leader, and another guy that gets them going, Chris Paul.
Oh
How
yeah.
how does he fare now that you don't have your leading scorer though?
I mean, CP3 can score, right? But CP3, I don't think he carries a team. He's a great option when you're trying to key on a D Booker, and then now, okay, he could take off because you're keying on. But now, if he has to do the one carrying the scoring to carry the team, that's totally different. So I don't see. And I respect CP3, like he's a great player, but I just don't think he's that type of point guard to carry the team.
So now, with that being said, with Devin Booker sitting out, how can the Pelicans capitalize on potentially taking the lead in the series, or by 1 or 2 games maybe, because they have the potential to go 3-1 right now? Or will it be a 2-2 type of thing? How do you think the Pelicans will fare in all of this?
The Pelicans need to at least win one game at home since they stole the home court advantage. Just and you took two. Like your goal was to win one.
Yeah.
In Phoenix, you took. So if you can win one at home, like you still looking good. So that should be on their mind. Let's get this one. Let's get this one.
Okay. The Heatles. Well, they're not the Heatles anymore
Hey,
because
hey, hey! Watch yourself now.
they're not
Watch
the
yourself.
Heatles. The big three not there, man.
Hey,
But
my Heat is on fire. On top, we looked a little, it was a little closer the second game, but nonetheless, we got the W. That's all that matters. Pretty or ugly, get the W, move on. So we're 2-0, headed to Atlanta.
listen, the first game, the Heat was on fire. I didn't think they were gonna miss. Honestly, I'm telling you, they shot lights out. Like seriously,
I
lights
mean,
out.
Hero and what's my other shooting
Duncan,
guard name?
Duncan,
Yeah, he was like 9 for
not
10
for
or something like
10.
from the 3 point. Unbelievable! Like they was lights out. They was knocking it down. So yeah, we on fire. Let's go.
So how do you feel they're handling Ice Tray? I mean, I know they call him Ice Tray because his veins supposed to be cold in his veins, but He's not
Yeah.
having a good series right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Because that heat
So he
defense
melted.
that
So he
he
melted.
melting that hey Pucker put that defense on him and he's melting. So yeah, he locked him up. I'm not saying he's gonna be able to do the same thing in Atlanta, but at the end of the day, in Miami, he put that heat defense on him, locking him up. He melted him. So gotta keep that pressure on him. I respect his game now. That's good. That young man can play. So, but I love the defense that we came out with.
Yeah. So another thing that I've been hearing, because I listen to all the different sports channels throughout the day, and like a lot of people are questioning Trey's superstar stardom per se. He's definitely a great athlete. He's definitely a star in the league, but now they're questioning if he's a superstar. So is this series exposing him, or because if he don't bounce back from this, I do think it's gonna kind of hurt because he's gonna have to come back and do something spectacular.
Well, I mean, I think people look at him. He's thin framed. He doesn't look the look, of a superstar player and all that, But I think you have to respect the numbers that he puts up night after night for his team. He's helped get his team to the playoffs 2 years in a row. Young
Mhm.
man can flat out play. I mean, he does have to earn it, as his team advances or he helps to grow them and they continue to try to advance at least to the next round in the playoffs at times. Then he'll get more respect. The team advances, he gets respect. The team doesn't advance, of course, we blame the so-called superstar of the team. Hey, he's not really a superstar. He can't carry the team to the next round. That's the pressure that goes with it. But I think he's big enough to handle it.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you because we've had these conversations before. They call him Jimmy Buckets. For me, I felt Jimmy was inconsistent. That's just me. I just have to see him be a little bit more consistent, but I'm not sold on him just yet. I'm not saying that he can't go out and get you buckets because he can. I'm saying consistently because I expect Jimmy Buckets to be a superstar in this league. And I feel like he hasn't shown that in consistency to the
I
people. Now,
mean, are you comparing him?
I
Are
am
you doing a
definitely not.
comparison like
Nope,
a
I have
D
nobody to
Wade,
compare him to.
Braun? I mean, okay. So I
No.
would say this for what we need him to do, the Heat. I think he's doing his part because
Okay.
we're not saying that you have to carry us. Like we have so many different trigger points. Like we can pull, from the three in different areas. So we don't need you to necessarily carry us, but we need you to have your presence to be felt, if that makes sense. They need to feel your presence. If we need a go-to bucket or attack the lane, he's more of our attacker. He can get in there, step back, hit the shot, or get in there and get all the way to the rack. So he's doing that for us, and I think he's being efficient in that. I don't see him like carrying a team per se by himself, but playing his role and being a part of that the new big three in terms of where the points are coming from the outside. Yeah, he's doing his part. Gotta get a man credit. He's doing his
I
part.
listen. I'm not taking nothing from him. I would personally like for him to be more consistent.
All right, let's see.
So what will be the tell off for me is how he follow ups this next game because he dropped 45, right?
Mm-hmm.
He dropped
Uh-huh.
45. So let's see what he drops in this game. And then, again, it depends on the type of game they're gonna play. But I feel like when the Heat brought him in, it was for him to be the superstar.
Right.
So I may put too much pressure on him and feel like he's supposed to carry the weight. You got shooters around you. I get it. It's just for me when I feel like a team brings you in to be the superstar, you got to give me that. You can't have 10 points one night. I'm sorry, you can't do that.
You're right. You're right. The check says this is what you're supposed to
Yeah,
be doing,
exactly.
and this is what
We
we need.
six figuring you. You better
Right.
not give me 10 and under.
Good point. Right. Right. Right.
Talk about your boy Kyle Lowry, man. He's a vet, gets under people's skin, and you saw that in the game against the Hawks. I mean, he's funny.
I love him. I think he's smart. I think his basketball IQ, his ability to move. He's short and stocky, but he's able to move the body and get the ball where it needs to be. I think he's very unselfish in his play and all that. I think the Heat has done an amazing job. I was a little doubtful when all of it was happening, but they did an amazing job putting this team together in the off season. So I'm looking forward to see how far we can push it, in the playoffs. So let's go.
What would be your ideal matchup? Let's say, because this is, I mean, the Heat is number one in the conference, in the Eastern Conference. So
Right.
you're number one. We expect you to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. What would be your ideal matchup? What team would be the ideal matchup for the Miami Heat to play in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I really look at it as the coach in me.
All right.
I don't worry about what team make it. Like, take this same question young man was asked from that blue and white team, and he gave an answer. And I'm sure today he hates that he gave that answer. Dookie said he wanted North Carolina, and he got what he asked for in the game that he didn't really want to have it. And look what happened. So I would say, from a coach standpoint, I don't worry about what the other side is doing. I can't say an ideal team, honestly. I would just say if the Heat is clicking on all cylinders and doing what they need to do to secure their side of the Eastern Conference and to be in that conference championship, then we'll be fine. From whoever comes, we'll be
Listen,
fine.
I'm definitely pulling for the Heat. It's the hometown. Always want the hometown to go as far as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, like I tell people before, I was an MJ fan, so it was Chicago. And
Right.
then my young boy came along, Mr. LBJ, and that's just that, And I love that I've been rocking with him for 19 years, and he going ahead still
Respect, nothing
performing.
but respect. Still performing great.
Still
I think
performing
he's
at a high
a
level.
great player. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, we got one of our teammates on. Shelly, what's
Hey,
up?
Shelly, TM5, let's go.
All right, we got Deidre talking about let's go Heat. Let's do it. Yeah. So look, man, guys, we got a special guest for you. I'm gonna bring her in right now. Julia McIver, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you ladies doing?
How you doing, Julia? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, we was just discussing a little NBA basketball, but now that we have you here, we want you to talk to the people about you. I'd rather you introduce yourself, give them your backstory. Who are you?
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Julia McIver. I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a realtor in Austin, Texas. Since we're talking about sports, I'm an ex-athlete. I'm originally from Southern California. I went and I played basketball and graduated from Glendora High School in Glendora, California. And I had the opportunity to play basketball at the University of Hawaii.
Nice. Hawaii.
Yeah.
Now, see, Hawaii for me, tourists, tourists, I like to visit. So talk to us about what it means to play in Hawaii. Like, how different is that from you being there all the time versus just a tourist?
Yeah, so it's completely different. Well, first of all, one of a golden secret we had whenever we would have tournaments, but obviously people love to come and have tournaments where we are. A lot of people get sunburned, and so that would give us an advantage.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
It would give us an advantage on that set. I mean, totally different. I mean, you went to school in Texas, so it gets hot and humid, but it's like that all the time. Most of the time is hot and humid. The winter, I think, is maybe get to 65 degrees. And at that point, I was freezing because my body got used to being there. So, but also the crazy thing that a lot of people don't really think about is time difference.
Yeah.
So when I was there, I don't know what's happening now, but when I was there, we would have full on basketball practice at 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Like hustle. You got to hustle because, in Texas or East Coast, it's noon. It's, so we had to try to get our bodies ready to travel. And that's a whole nother thing, traveling at least 5 hours just to get to the West Coast. I mean, we played schools in Louisiana, Tulsa. When I was there, we were in the WAC, Western Athletic Conference. Louisiana Tech was in the Western Athletic Conference in Tulsa.
Wow.
So, I mean, so the travel. So, yeah. So it was it's very different from, playing in the States where you travel an hour or two or, 3 or 4 hours to get to somewhere. Yeah.
Man, I know that had to be gruesome. That's on a whole different level right there. Seriously, just to travel alone.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why I went to University of Hawaii. My aunt, who was on the top 32 undrafted WNBA list, she was on that list. Her name was Julia McIver. She's actually passed about 6-7 years ago. She had breast cancer, but she has records actually at UH that no one will ever break. So she was my inspiration of learning to play basketball. She was good. She was competitive, and I like to compete. And so through that, it kind of rubbed off on me. And when I was 9 years old, I went to my very first basketball camp at Long Beach State. So Glenn McDonald was the coach at Long Beach State. So.
Okay, all right. Hey, that's pretty dope to have that legacy ahead of you, something to look forward to. Not a lot of us have that. I mean, that has to be something that's very rare.
Oh yeah, definitely. So she went there, and so of course, and I was her favorite niece. Everybody will tell you in her family I was the favorite. She would tell you. Everyone knew that I was her favorite. So yeah, so I kind of just followed, and she went there. I went there. Our experiences were completely different. Very, very different. So, but that's the reason I ended up going there.
Okay. So tell us, what does the crossover mean to you in your own words? What would you say the crossover means to you?
The crossover, and we're talking about business, or are we talking about life? What are we talking about?
Life in general.
Life. So the crossover, when I think of a crossover, just thinking about life, I'm thinking of like a dramatic change. You go in one direction and you're going to hit another direction. And so for me, actually, I'll talk about a little bit about this. So when I said that I had a completely different experience than my aunt. So the very first day I get to campus, school hasn't even started yet. We play a pickup game. I'm out there trying to hustle. I just came off, being that, on the all-star team in high school. I'm ready to go. First day I get there, we play a pickup game, and we're running. Guard steals the ball. I stop, turn. I felt a pop. I dislocated my kneecap. School hadn't even started yet. And so I get there and I'm like, okay, all right, fine. Did the whole red shirt thing, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, all right, fine. I had some adversity, came back, got ready. In the preseason, I feel a pop in my foot, same leg. I get there and, I realized that, long story short, I fractured my foot. They thought it was a fracture, or they actually didn't know. They just thought it was a strain. Found out it was a fracture, and I actually played until I broke it.
Wow.
So I was playing on a fractured foot. They didn't know. They thought it was calcium lines, things like that. So that was a complete crossover from where I came from, where my name was in the paper, all of these different things, all the complete whole story. And 2 years in a row, that kind of happened to me. So at that point, it was, in school, if you're not performing, or someone, next man up. So every, freshman year, I saw the other freshmen go next me. And so I came to the point where I was actually the scout. So if we were playing UConn, so I played against Diana Taurasi in school. So they're like, I'm not saying I'm Diana Taurasi by any means.
Yeah.
But I was scout team. So that's kind of where my role shifted. Like I said, I went from name in the paper, everybody knows me, to I'm head of the scout team. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was my game day. I really didn't play. So when I said my aunt and I had completely different experiences, that's kind of where I'm talking about. I went, came in, Judy Mosley, McAfee's niece, she's doing all this to, okay, here, this is your game day, And so when you say crossover, that was a whole life shift that I had to learn as an adult, going into my adult years where I was expecting one thing, but I had to perform on the other and keep that positive mindset. Cause if you don't keep that positive mindset, then people don't want you on the team.
Yeah.
Man, so you said something.
I'm just saying I had to learn real early to overcome adversity. So.
Oh man,
that's a huge crossover for you, and being able to make that transition is major. as you say, like it's almost not saying that you accepted it in a negative way, you accepted it in the terms of let me go out and do my best and do my part for the team to help the team excel and to get, hey, this is my game day, so I better show up for this opportunity.
That's exactly how it was. I just took it as my role, what I'm supposed to be on this team is to help my teammates get better, and so there was just a saying that I learned, and I passed it on. Like sometime prior to COVID, I was coaching and helping the young girls and just in general, and I even tell my kids or just people I meet. My motto is if I take care of myself, I take care of the team. I mean, if I get my mind right, if I do what I need to do, run in my lane, then everything else should function the way it should.
Right.
Man, that is key. I want you to talk about, because you mentioned something that, we talked about this last week, that there's no such thing as red shirts anymore, right? Because like the portal is on fire. So like nobody's red shirting. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I wish that portal was available when I was in school. I barely knew I could keep my scholarship. It got to that point where it was like, well, you're injured. We don't really see a place for you on the team. Like it got to that point. So if that portal was available, I sure would have found somewhere else to play at that moment. You know what I mean? Right. Sometimes when you hit the adversity, you want to hit the escape button, instead of just facing it on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sorry. I think
what was
the question again?
No, all good. The fact that you dealt with adversity. I think a lot of times the kids these days, like you just mentioned it, like they hit that wall and like, I'm out of here. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you had to stick it out, like, explain your thought process through that, because I know it honestly, it has to be, you go through a moment of depression because you did go from this high caliber athlete to now it's like injuries prevent you from doing certain things. So talk about, your mindset, your mentality of what it had to be. Like, who did you lean on during those times?
Well, first of all, I cried a lot.
Of course.
I kind of, so that was pretty rough. I mean, I'm a Christian, so I prayed. I read my Bible every day. If I didn't read my Bible and pray before I went to practice, then my mind wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like I had to have that encouragement. I had to know, who was backing me. Of course, I called my mom, called my aunt. She was actually still playing at the time. So you know how when you're playing in season and then you go overseas in the off season. So we were right. And so when I was there, so she was still playing at the time. So I kind of called her and, she, of course, completely different experiences. So she could just give me, what she felt at the moment to say. I also developed some really good friends who just were really encouraging. And I know it was just a blessing because there were moments where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do it. But one of the main things that made me want to continue is because I'm the oldest grandchild. And I always wanted to be an example. I mean, I'm firstborn, so I was the first of everything. I didn't want to let anyone down. So that was kind of it. I mean, it was a push, but it was stressful, so the whole combination, that whole entire combination was really what just kept me going. I mean, I'm super glad that I was able to make it work because I have no student loans.
Yeah, you made it work.
So my husband always jokes with me. He's an ex-Longhorn. He played basketball at UT. He played with the Running Horns. But he always jokes with me because that first year I didn't play, I redshirted. So I actually still have a year of college eligibility left. So he's like, why don't you get in and, we can go to a D2. I was like, man, I'm too old. I have 3 kids. I got a business now. My knees it's not going to take that anymore.
Right.
Hey, J.R. Smith went back and did some golf,
Yeah. Maybe we'll take up golf. That might be.
Julia, I mean, this is a great way to segue into the crossover in terms of your business. So tell us about the business that you now have started.
Yeah, so I am a realtor in Austin. I love what I do. I love to help people, and it just so happens I get paid to do it. I really love to do it. And just, I mean, I've been in the business for 13 years. When my oldest was first born, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. where I could bring in good income and still be available for my kids. So that was my mindset in getting my real estate license. And throughout those years, I've gotten to my third child. But yeah, I've been selling in real estate in Austin, like I said, over 13 years now, from luxury, investment, first time home buyers, everything. I've done everything that you can think of. But in the past couple, probably about the last 18 months, I've actually decided to shift my business a little bit. I'll still help anybody that wants help because I love to do it, but I'm working on shifting my business to actually helping athletes with real estate, focusing on sports and entertainment. Here in Austin, we have a lot of folks moving here. We have a lot of retired athletes moving here. We have, so that's kind of where I'm shifting my business right now. Just working on that because, like I said, I've been around athletes my whole life. Had a big, when I was at Glendora in high school, one of my big brothers was Tracy Murray. I don't know if you know about him. He played for Houston Rockets and UCLA. And so every weekend his dad would come out and we would go play ball. So I've been around athletes. My husband's an athlete. When I was actually in college, the group of friends that I ended up meeting were part of a Christian athletic organization. So I ended up meeting tons of athletes. So that's why I kind of fit like, I've been around athletes and real estate. So that's kind of how I'm meshing those two together now.
Okay. Talk about, I'm glad you mentioned that. Talk about the importance of really focusing in and laser zooming into like the niche that you want to hit, because I think that's very important. I think
definitely, because so in real estate there are so many aspects in real estate that you can get into, but just like in sports, if you have a goal, if you have a focus, I feel like by fine-tuning that, you can actually run in your lane, run your plays, do all the things you're supposed to. So I feel like it was going to function better. So
yep. And what do you think about how much has basketball helped you in real estate?
It's actually allowed me to I've dealt with I've dealt with tons of personalities,
of course,
tons of teammates, but also just that never give up attitude, because we'll hit a wall or we'll hit a certain situation where, I've had a listing and all of a sudden the buyers are like, we can't afford it. So you go into game mode, like, what can I do? Let me call my lender. Let me do this. So all those different avenues where you had to shift the focus or go to one goal. I mean, that definitely just works for me and a benefit in real estate. Just being able to cross over mindset.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I want to shout out some of our followers. Coach K, and I'm a basketball coach, and she got some of my girls in the gym, and they got the crossover on the speaker listening to. So shout out to Miami Norland girls basketball team, and Deetra and Sandra. We appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to us. You guys really make it all worth it, sharing the information and sharing our awesome guests with you all. So Julie, you said next you're gonna move your business into the athletes, right? So you're going to service those who may be retiring and moving into the Austin area. Let me ask you this. So how much of your business do you feel you can like impart on your family, like your children growing up? Do you talk to them about real estate?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, growing up, my parents rented until probably the last 20 years of their life. So just understanding how real estate worked, I didn't know until I got my real estate license. And then once I started to understand equity and, just acquiring wealth, so I always tell my kids now, some of the richest people in the world own real estate. Yeah. So that's like number one. Every once in a while, I'll let my kids see a check. So they can get an idea like, okay, mom doesn't work 40, like 9 to 5 or whatever. I can work from home, and things like that. We're letting them know, we're purchasing different properties to say, hey, this is why we're purchasing them, to be able to pass it on to you. My daughter, who is 6, is my youngest. One day she comes up to me, she goes, Mom, I don't know if I want to sell cars or if I want to be a realtor.
Oh my goodness.
And I've never, ever mention to her like what you should do. Like, I never think you should tell your kids what they should do. I mean, you show them different avenues, you see the personalities, things like that. But I thought that was hilarious. She was like, because you, and I was like, well, why do you want to, first of all, I was like, well, why do you want to sell cars? She's like, because I like cars. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. You're like, Mom, I like cars. And then I was like, well, why do you want to sell real estate? She said, because you help people get a house.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was like, okay, that solidified, like, I love, like why I love to do what I do.
I was about to say, that's your why. You just hit your why.
Yeah, and then my boys, equity, they're thinking about, okay, oh, hold on, dad's gonna leave this for me, that for you. Yeah, huh? You got to work, make sure you work, but yes.
yeah, definitely.
So do any athletes, as far as your kids, anybody has basketball in their future? I know you say you're kind of letting them figure it out on their own.
Well,
do you foresee it?
So it's in the future. I mean, so my husband played at UT. Well, he played with the Fab Five. He played with Chris Webber, all those guys, but he ended up transferring over because Chris Webber was taking his spot. I mean, it's not quite the story, but yeah. So he played with you
for that one.
So basketball is in the blood. And he always told me I barely made the height. I'm 6 feet. I barely made the height because he wanted to give his kids every opportunity to be able to play. I'm like, no one's ever told me I was short. Never in my life.
How tall is your husband?
6'9".
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So our 14-year-old son, so we never made him play, just because if he decides to playing on an AAU team with people at 8 is not going to help him in his game. So he's been playing now a couple years, but he's just starting to feel the game. So he's 6'7". So
he's 14.
Yes.
Hey, we recruiting. We're like, dang, 14.
So he's 6'7", 14. He's athletic, but he just has to get a feel for the game. Like his
body, his body probably took off on him.
Yeah, that too. Yes. I mean, my husband, I'm just giving my husband some props here in Austin. So he's been a basketball trainer, one-on-one trainer here in Austin. So he's been teaching my son has the skills. It's just applying him in the, inside in the game. So, but yeah, he has what he needs. He just has to apply it, so. And then I have my 12-year-old son, he's 5'9", and then my daughter, she's 6, but she's about the size of a 10-year-old. So I will probably be the shortest person in my house.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So me and my husband, I'm a sports junkie. My original degree, actually, I was trying to be in sports broadcasting. That's how much I love sports. One of my favorite shows is anything on ESPN.
Yeah. Okay.
So I am a sports junkie. My husband loves sports, so our kids were surrounded with it. They fought it for a while because they're like, you just want us to play basketball. We're like, well, if you want to go to school for free, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yes. So the goal is, but if for whatever reason they don't, which at 6'7", and you play basketball, you can go to D3 and get scholarship. So, yes, basketball is in the future.
Somebody's going to pick him up at that.
Yeah. So
he's still growing. So,
yes. He is.
Man, 14.
I'm gonna be the shortest one at 6 feet. My daughter, I'm thinking she'll be about 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
My husband says 6'5". I was like, whoa, we'll see.
Oh man.
I was like, I've never met a woman who played sports was like, ooh, I want to be 6'5". I've never met one. Not to say it's not cool, it's not helpful. I'm just saying I've never met one.
A lot of times they feel, and I'm too tall. I'm just taller than everybody. The ladies that I know.
Yeah, usually whenever I go to anything real estate, I'm usually the tallest person there, unless there's some other athletes, So yeah, I'm 6 feet, so I get it.
Yeah. And you gotta be the tallest woman showing up every time, just about, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Definitely. Yeah. No, I went to a education class one day, and they were talking about being aggressive and putting your, kind of just focusing on all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, hey, I have a question. I'm a 6-foot Black lady. Sometimes aggression comes off the wrong way. How do you make that work? And I'm, of course,
right.
in the class and all that. I'm like, obviously you can see that I am outgoing and all that, but how does, I was being difficult and challenging that person.
Right.
How does it work for me that I don't come off the wrong way?
Did they give you a solution?
Don't be too aggressive.
Yeah, they're like, no, yeah. So whenever I meet clients for the first time, I always wear flats because I don't know how tall the guy is and want to intimidate him.
So you got to come in already putting on the defense mechanism, trying to get their guard down. Boy.
So that's why I want to work with athletes, because I won't have to work with that anymore. All my business athletes. No, I've had some really great folks that have been athletes, but I'm saying, like, once as my business has been shifting, it's not something that, it's not like I gotta, tiptoe a little bit until they get to know me, because I think I'm, a nice person.
There you go. Hey, aren't we all?
That's
until
awesome.
they get on your bad side, right?
I like to base my business on referrals, so we'll see. Sometimes I've only fired one person in 13 years.
Really? Oh man, I don't know. I think I fire people all the time. I think I fire them all the time.
I have kids. I have patience.
Yeah, Carla, you went on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I was just saying, like, being a basketball player and a Black woman has sometimes been a very hard thing to overcome, because we can come off as aggressive, and we're always trying to, hey, I'm, not that tall, but hey, I'm not trying to be aggressive, but we're used to being aggressive on the court. To be successful, you got to be aggressive. Mm-hmm. So just being able to maneuver in between those things is key.
And I think we always have to be, we have to, it's been taught to us from a young age. We pretty much have to, as Black women, we have to be 10 steps ahead of the competition, men included. We have to always bring our A game. We can never be off. We don't get a pass, but we do have to put in extra work, per se. Even though our natural abilities can really get the job done, but I feel like we're held to a higher standard than everyone else.
Yeah. I don't disagree in any way. I used to love, when I was in high school, or even now, people come, oh, you play basketball. I was like, oh, no, I was a cheerleader. Just throw them off. Or they're like, oh, you must play basketball or volleyball. And sometimes I'm like, no, I'm just a person.
So Julia,
you get a little annoyed.
Tell us, what would you tell some younger athletes coming up, or your younger self coming up, and they're into sports, whether it's basketball, football, whatever? What would you tell the younger athletes?
Well, I would definitely say that everything that you have learned in your sport, how to focus, how to be a teammate, how to set a goal, take that into whatever occupation that you want to be in. Because, in reality, that's what makes leaders in the workforce. It's the people that know where they're going, know what they want to do, whether they know how to do it yet or not. Yeah. Or you have a coach, you have someone you see help you with your blind spots. And that's another thing, even as an adult, once you become an adult, having people in your corner to be able to help you, to speak into your life, to say, hey, you know what, you should probably do this, or you should probably do that. Like, take it, right. That helped you in college with your coaches, it'll help you now. So I definitely feel like, every single aspect. I know for sure this past meeting we had for our brokerage for EXP, we had Venus. It was Venus Williams. She came and spoke, and she's like, in reality, I would rather have someone be an athlete to hire them. I don't think I have any people who aren't athletes, either high school or college or professional, just because of the level of focus. So you've learned how to focus, you've learned how to work with people, you've learned how to set goals, and taking that to whatever occupation, whether it's real estate or where you want to open a coffee shop, whatever it is, take that with you. And, if you're not good at something, have somebody help you, have some coach, have someone there to help you. So that's kind of what I would tell the young people today.
Great advice. Great advice.
Love it. I love it. Athletes bring the intangibles that, the average person does not possess. And we have been pretty much trained to tap into those intangibles. And I agree. I think everybody wants to hire an athlete. The problem is sometimes they will tell you lack experience, but we really don't. We have all the experience in the world. It's just maybe not in that field, but we have the intangibles that they're looking for.
Oh, we can check the box: communicating, teamwork,
right,
facilitator, especially if you use the point guard, you was facilitating.
All day. Like, who doesn't want a PG?
Definitely. So I'll, when you fill out that application, just, make sure you're reading it and making it fit from your experience. And you have great references from your coaches and teammates and, folks that you've met throughout the way,
So Julia, you got a question in the box, T, if you want to ask that question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. All right. Who is the tallest NBA or WNBA player you ever met?
The tallest NBA player I've ever met? I guess Lisa Leslie. When my aunt played for the Sparks.
All right.
Who didn't want to meet Lisa Leslie back in the day? So I met her. I'm trying to think. The tallest. I think she might have been the tallest.
The tallest WNBA. What about any NBA players?
I mean, I used to go. Okay, so when I would go, it was in the summer league when they had just summer league. It wasn't, they would go and just play at random gyms across the country.
Right.
I mean, Tracy's 6'8". I don't know. I'm trying to think. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I met Kobe when we were in Hawaii.
Nice.
When the Lakers came to Hawaii and they booted us out of our gym. When they would come play. So I met Kobe. How was Kobe's 6'7"? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's about 6'7". He was about 6'7".
So I met Kobe, had an opportunity to have a 5-minute conversation with one of the GOATs. But shoot, I don't know.
That's valuable. Hey, that's a tough question. If you have any other questions,
a long time ago.
Other guests.
And there's a lot of people who was playing in the league and didn't, you don't remember all their names.
Yeah.
Especially a big guy. I mean, for me, I don't know. I'm out of my game after Akeem Olajuwon. So I like to go around people.
Akeem the Dream?
Yeah, the Dream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, my dad, once he found out that I loved to play basketball, you should play like Karl Malone. I was like, first of all, I don't even like the Jazz. Don't like Karl Malone. Don't like John Stockton. That wasn't happening. I was like, really? I didn't like the body. No, I don't like to touch people. I went around you.
Yeah.
So that's why when I was younger, I'd watch Akeem because he'd go up, under, around, sideways.
He definitely did.
Yeah. So that's how I played.
Yeah, footwork was out of control.
Yeah.
If a big person wanna see some footwork, you gotta watch the Dream.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
That was he wasn't my favorite player, but you just sometimes you cling to people and you try, you learn from them. He wasn't my favorite, but I definitely liked his game for sure.
So how was it playing for your college coach? Because you did mention college coaches can be your reference. So, how was it playing for your college coach?
Well, as I said, I didn't have the greatest experience. My college coach, after a while, kind of gave me the cold shoulder.
Oh, what have you done for me lately type of mentality?
Yeah. I can't speak for him. I don't know if he was disappointed because I had the energy, you can't get in people's heads.
Yeah, of course.
And then after a while, it's just, I have no idea because people would ask me, why aren't you playing? And my answer would be, I don't know, ask coach, And as a young person, I wasn't the one to go up and challenge and be like, hey, why aren't I playing? I'm out here, killing some of our starters as, on the scout team, making them run, things like that. Right. So I don't know. I have no idea. I actually have no connection with my coaches anymore. Okay. I had, and while I was there, my position coach changed pretty much every year.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you guys were bringing in new coaches pretty much.
Yeah,
okay.
I was recruited by one coach. So he got a head coaching job somewhere else, and then there's another coach there for a couple of years, and he left and got a head coach job somewhere else, and then I had someone else come in. So by that time, it was just I was there. School, I worked hard, got my degree in 4 years as an athlete. Like I said, I didn't try to play my last year, so for me, my coaching experience wasn't the best. Okay. So I didn't use getting coaches for reference.
I gotta ask, since your husband played as well, who would win the one-on-one game? If you guys were to play one-on-one right now.
So here's the thing. He's 6'9", I'm 6 feet. He's athletic. He could jump. I was athletic. I wasn't an athlete, but I was an athletic. Does that make sense? I wasn't the fastest, the highest jumper, but I had the footwork. I had the touch. when we first dated, he would never let me win.
Of course not. Of course
Never.
not.
So I mean, now maybe because he's a little older, I can get some shots up. But he killed me on that one.
Do you still actively play or?
So I play. I need to start actively playing because that's really the only exercise I love to do. That, and I've rekindled an acceptance of jump roping.
Okay,
I'd rather do that than any other cardiovascular exercise.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so I play like with my kids, so not competitively, but I think I need to just start tuning as well. Then again, working with athletes, things like that.
Yeah. Can your kids? So, I know they're just now getting the feel of the game. Like, I know you're not letting them beat you, right?
Okay, so when my oldest child got 6'7", it was a lot harder to make baskets. I can get some shots up, but in the past year he's been beating me.
Okay,
and
all right.
He's
Stop
young.
playing him. Stop playing him. Then
I probably got him by at least a bill. So he's a little faster than me.
Yeah, you got to back him down. You got to back him down in the
This is all he got to do. He don't even have to jump
put that
anymore.
shoulder in his
My
chest.
jumping is like this big.
Oh, put that shoulder in his chest.
Occasionally, like I said, I'll get a bucket off. But his only goal is to block my shot.
Yeah, he got a long outreach.
Yeah. So I mean, 2 years ago, he couldn't, and then the next year is getting competitive. But I'm 41, turning 42. He is 6'7". And his only goal is to make sure I don't score a goal.
Right. Does he play against dad?
Yeah, he does. My husband won't let him win either.
There we go. You can't let him win. You can't give him the victory.
No, but I mean, it's only going to make him better.
Down.
He is only going to make him better. Yeah. So, unfortunately, no, there's no one I can beat at the moment in life. So it's kind of frustrating. But I never give up the challenge. So actually, this past Christmas, my family. We're a basketball family. My sister played sports, basketball. My brother played college. We all played basketball. Brother-in-law played basketball. So family came down. We just played horse.
Okay.
I won.
All right. Hey, that's what we're talking about. Any victory works. Any victory works.
I still got touch. I can't jump, but I got touch.
Shoot. Flip the wrist. The wrist. Well, Julia, we almost at the end of our segment. Our show, but we have a hot cross zone segment that we do. We'll fire off about 5 questions for you to answer. All right. So the first one is, what's your favorite food?
Mexican food.
Mexican.
Tex-Mex, queso.
Any Mexican. All right. Dessert or no dessert?
I should say no, but yes. Ice cream is usually involved, cookie, cheesecake, like if we go out or whatever.
All right. You like to play fast or you like to play slow in the basketball game?
Ooh, it depends on the day and who we're playing. Probably, I guess slow. I'd say slow because I can
like a half court game, not a full court pressing type of game.
Yeah, no. Right. I like to juke you, make you go left, right. You can't do that when we're running up and down the floor. I like to make you know that I made the basket.
All right, and the last one, you pick. You got to pick one or the other. You picking a point guard or you picking your post player?
I'll post.
Oh man!
That's our first post. We 3-1 with that's 3-1.
Point guard's up 3, baby.
Point guard.
Gotta pick the post.
You gotta pick the post.
Gotta pick the shots. Gotta get the rebound.
Right. Who's gonna get you the ball?
Who's gonna get me the ball?
Yeah.
In regards to what?
The position, like if you're on the floor, that's why most people pick the point guard.
Who's gonna give me the ball? Like my favorite player.
In the game. If I'm in the game, the post player, technically she's saying the post player.
It don't matter. It don't matter. I make buckets from
whoever. She gonna get buckets no matter what.
She bringing
it up. Comes my way, I'm making buckets.
All right. You go there and stick it. It ain't even coming back out, basically.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you so much, Julia, for being on the show tonight. And I wish you many, many blessings. EXP family, we thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited for you all to do your thing.
Thank you. Appreciate you. You have a good one. Tell the fam
All
what's
right.
up, and make sure you beat them next time you play them, though.
I'll do my best.
All right.
Have a
good night.
All right, you too.
Man, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was
Wrap
awesome.
up another great show. Hey, Gary, thank you for coming on. Another great show. Dietrich, thank you for tuning in. And hey, T, we got another one in. We got another great one in. Before we go, do we want to touch on, there's a lot of shifting going on in women's basketball. You want to touch on that right quick, or we want to save that?
Oh, for sure. Listen, South Florida product of American high school, Jada Williams. She was a head coach at Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
And she's now joining Ole Miss with Coach Joe as an assistant.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. I think that's pretty
big.
big.
She went to a Power 5, like what we would call Coastal Carolina a mid-major or something.
Yeah. And now she's going to
a Power 5. That's her making her way into that opportunity to one day be a head coach herself. So that's big. That's big.
Yeah. Chelsea Newton, Gig'em Aggies. Chelsea Newton is joining Joni Taylor's the
staff over there.
Yeah, she's the associate head coach. Lauren Harper, that was at Mount Verdi, she just got a head coaching job as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She got a head coaching job as well. So it's a lot of Black women getting head coaching jobs, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Bring Brittany
home.
Hey,
we send in prayers and for Brittany Griner, man. Like, that's a serious case, and really praying that this can hurry up and come to an end and bring her on home. We definitely sending up those prayers for her and her family. I know that they definitely need them. It's a different world over there, different countries. So we're really praying for her safe return back to the States.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm looking forward to tonight. Boston, Brooklyn, right? Kyrie got fined by the NBA $50,000 for shooting birds at the Celtic fans.
$25,000 fingers.
Yeah, wow. 25,000 a finger. Like, that's crazy, right?
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, that's going to be a good series, and I'm very interested to see how that one's going to turn out. A lot of heat in that series.
It's a time of year I like the NBA. Like, there's some good games. And that game, the last game where Boston and Brooklyn ended on a last-second layup, that was a really good game, high-scoring game. So I'm sure tonight is going to be just as good. So tune in.
Listen, game 4, you may see Ben Simmons. Game 4, you may see Ben Simmons. Listen, my auntie Sandra, she's a KD fan, so that's why she's going with the Nets. I'm gonna she loves KD. She loves KD.
That last shot might not have been the best shot for him to take, but hey, you live or die with it.
That's right, and they died with it that day, so now they're 0-1. But listen, you guys, it's been great. Thank you for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. This is the Crossover. We do this each and every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep. Until next time, don't let the game use you. Use the game, but don't let the game use you. Y'all be blessed.
Good night.